Transforming employees, customers, and strategic business partners into motivated and devoted team of enthusiastic brand advocates, and our guest calls them business superfans, is super critical. This cohesive team can elevate brand visibility, enhance overall loyalty, and drive increased sales and profits, ensuring your business sustains success.
This episode of the Lead Machine Growth Show is brought to you by Lead Machine, the step-by-step, tech-easy system for getting leads online. Are you struggling to get leads from your lead magnet? Are you tired of seeing low conversion rates and losing potential customers? It's time to revive your lead magnet and start attracting more leads. Download our free report, 10 Deadly Lead Magnet Mistakes That Are Costing You Leads, and learn how to create a high-converting lead magnet that engages your audience and drives conversions. Don't let common mistakes hold you back any longer. Revive your lead magnet today and download your free report at www.getleadmachine.com/deadly. Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show, where you will discover how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream. Paul Guyon, the mastermind behind the Lead Machine, introduces you to trailblazers who inspire you to implement life-changing solutions and systems you can model to nurture your leads and get your offers seen by your ideal clients who will invest in themselves and you. Be sure you visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, tune in and get ready to transform your vision into reality.
Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm Paul Guyon, your host, lead machine coach, and the founder of the Lead Machine Mastermind Group. I'm dedicated to helping you tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream. So whether you're just starting out or taking your business to the next level, let's get this conversation started and turn your dreams into reality. Frederick Dudek, did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Also known as Freddy D, is the author of Creating Business Superfans and host of the Business Superfans podcast. With over 30 years of experience in sales and marketing, he excels in achieving remarkable sales results globally, particularly in the software as service or SaaS industry. Freddy D shares invaluable strategies for cultivating brand advocates, whom he calls business superfans, who drive organizations in long-term success, rather. So Freddy D, thank you so much. Is it okay if I call you Freddy D? I think everyone does.
Absolutely, Paul. Pleasure being on the show.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Business superfans. We were just talking a minute ago. I work for a company that valued their employees, their vendor relationships, and their client relationships. In fact, we had events where we brought all of them together, which is kind of unheard of back then in the logistics industry, because nobody wanted to know who your suppliers were and all that. But we got them together, and it was amazing. But something went wrong, and the employees started to die out. They didn't have the enthusiasm anymore, and then everything else kind of went to hell in a handbasket. So what strategy did you discover that transformed employees into business superfans, and how do you sustain that?
Very good question, Paul. First off, it starts off with one of the quotes in my book is, people will crawl through broken glass for appreciation and recognition, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately, a lot of businesses overlook that, and they don't give the appreciation and the recognition to the individuals on their team. Some of them have the mindset, that, well, I'm giving them a job. They should be grateful that they have a job, versus I'm grateful to have them on my team because they're helping me grow my business.
Yeah. And that's super important these days, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's one thing that if I turned around as an example, if I turn around and says, hey, Paul, thanks a lot for the help on this particular project, greatly appreciate it. Okay, you'll feel good, right? But if I turn around and says, hey, everybody, I want to take a moment to recognize Paul for the outstanding work he did to help us on this particular project that made us, pass through this barrier, success, etc.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you feel terrific because now you got edified in front of an audience, which is your peers, and
Yeah.
that makes the people, the fellow team members, go, man, I want that. And so it just kicks everybody up to a whole nother level. And it's just those little things.
Yeah. I was once a Cub master, believe it or not. And three of my kids were Cub Scouts. And I was elected to be not elected, kind of fell into being the Cub master. And one thing that really struck out to me was the celebration of small successes along the way.
Mm-hmm.
In the Cub Scouts, if you do a particular activity, you'll get a bead, or you'll get a couple of beads, or you'll get a little patch when you've achieved a milestone.
Yep.
And every monthly meeting, we would edify the scouts and reward them in front of everybody. It would be a fun event.
Yep.
And we would stage. It was ceremonial, and they just loved it, and that made them want more of it.
Exactly. I was a Cub Scout myself and a Boy Scout. So
Yeah.
I totally, you brought back some great memories, but the thing is that unfortunately that gets lost in the business world
Yeah.
because it's all about, okay, we got to go, work. And, businesses don't take time to just let people live and empower them to be their best.
Yeah, and I think that it's easy to start out that way when you're a solo entrepreneur and you're just starting and you're doing everything yourself. And then when you bring on one person to your team or a couple of people on your team, it's a little easier to do that. But once you get to a point where you're scaling your business and you start to get middle management, sometimes that campfire feeling,
Mhm.
that feeling about around the kumbaya, around the campfire, that kind of gets lost because the management, the middle layer of management doesn't get it. But we're still talking about, smaller businesses. How do we sustain that? How do we sustain that super fan of an employee?
Well, it's the recognition. It's saying thank you. There's not enough thank yous out there. Thank you for the extra work. Thank you for going above and beyond. One of the stories I sell, not sell, I talk about, it's just an example. It's not real, but it's, you've got, let's say, an example of a flooring and a painting company. They're complementary businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Sally is looking for some flooring. So she reaches out to, a company, and Steve's the owner, and he does a killer job. And so she's super happy about that. But now she realizes that her walls look horrible and they need to be repainted to match the flooring and so that everything pops. So
Yeah.
she asks Steve, who does he know? And so he says, talk to my buddy Mike.
Yeah.
Well, Mike sends one of his people, which is, I'll use the name Miguel. Well, Miguel doesn't feel appreciated, doesn't feel like he's been recognized, feels he's taken advantage of, overworked. What kind of job do you think Miguel's going to do?
He's going to do the bare minimum is what he's going to do.
Exactly.
Enough to get a paycheck.
Enough to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so now Sally, it's all done, and there's, the painting isn't perfect, the lines aren't perfectly straight, etc. So Sally's upset. So she's upset with Mike's company, and she's upset and disappointed with Steve's company. So now it's a double whammy for both companies, where all because one person didn't feel appreciated. So, how you sustain that is you go do that, what I call an unexpected extra. You go that extra mile. So Miguel had done a particular project at some point in time in the past. Hey, you know what? You went above and beyond. You really helped us with this particular thing. Here's the thing. Here's some money. Take the missus out to dinner on us because we appreciate you. It's the little things that make a big difference. The same thing with, somebody needs to go home early or needs some flex hours. There's companies that are too rigid.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be able to accommodate people's lives, because at the end of the day, we really have one life. There's not work and life. It's life is one.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, and so keeping that sustainable activity, just making it a habit, I guess is part of
Yeah.
it. Because as you just explained, a disgruntled employee is going to hurt sales. It's
Yeah.
going to hurt the reason you're in business is to make sales and profits and to grow. And so if you're not paying attention to that, you might be paying attention to getting in new leads and closing sales and doing the operations of your business, but this has to become part of it. Isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely. Because in that example, had Miguel felt better, he would have killed the job. And now both companies would have had a super fan out of Sally that would have said, man, these guys did a great job. And she'd be telling everybody. Now the opposite is happening. The bad news travels faster than good news. And so, reviews is the new word of mouth today. And
Yeah,
in that example, both of them, fell flat on their face.
right. So how do you measure the impact of that? And is it important to building super fans to have some sort of metric that you're measuring?
Yeah, I mean, you want to take a look at, what the Outback, not the Outback, but what the results are of in a survey of what the customer feels of the service or product that you've delivered. So you're staying in contact with the customer because a lot of times people will make a transaction and it's a transaction mindset
Yeah.
and nobody hears from them again. A perfect example I'll use is, we've all had some work done at our house by somebody. How often do you hear back from that individual?
Never.
That's my point just made. So, but if they were following up and reaching out and saying 6 months later, hey, Paul, just want to check in. We had done this particular project for you. How's it all going? Is all well? And by the way, do you happen to know somebody else? And so it's maintaining that ongoing engagement past, and not having a transaction mindset, but having a relationship mindset is how you can make a differentiation. And then you can start tracking that and saying, okay, we followed up with this person. Oh, wow. 8 months later, they just gave me a referral. And
Yeah.
so those are some little things that you can do.
Yeah. And my mother-in-law, her spouse passed away over the Christmas holiday, and
My
she's in her
condolences.
yes, thank you. She's in her mid 80s, and so she's been doing some remodeling because she never had everything just quite the way she wants it, and so now she gets to do that, which
Hmm.
is great. Uh, and her roof needs to be replaced. She needs repaired, and she got four bids, and one of them, the company my son works for, came and did a very nice professional job with quoting it and everything. But another company that had done their job before, they were Johnny on the spot. They were right by the book. They followed up. They gave her extras. They told her what was going on. They made sure that, hey, if you have another bid that's close, or we'll work with you. We really want to work with you again. Blah blah blah. And so they've been following up. The other ones took a while to get back. They weren't personable. My son did a good job, but I don't think he's going to get it because that extra mile that company took. And I'll bet that company values their employees.
No,
And
absolutely. It's funny because that is a story that I do share in the book. Similar is I coached the company years ago in Chicago, and basically I said, you go to the bid, and when you are done, getting the information, you send a thank you card saying thank you through the mail, so you differentiate yourself. Thank you for taking the opportunity, for allowing us to bid on this particular project.
yeah,
None, and then you let's say you win the bid, then you turn around and says another thank you for selecting us. And by the way, here's how the next couple months is going to play out so that that person can plan their life. And then I also tell them take pictures of the whole project because they wouldn't have thought of that. And so now
yeah,
when you're done with the project, thank you for allowing us to remodel your kitchen. Here's the timeline and pictures of all the things. And
yeah,
then, send a postcard 3 months later, says just a reminder, did you send in your warranty for the new appliances?
yeah,
And then, a year later say, oh my gosh, it's a year to scream by. I know that everybody parties in the kitchen. Hope you guys have enjoyed your new kitchen. Simple things like that makes
Yeah.
a huge difference.
Yeah, and you touched on a subject. I was just listening to a podcast the other day where they were talking about the importance of onboarding,
Hmm.
not only for just employees, but for vendors and for clients. And so let's talk
Yep.
about the client. That's exactly what we were talking about here with the roofing company and the kitchen remodel is they set expectations, and they probably had an automated system that's set up so that all the person in the admin department is either has to set them up and push a button, and then this happens
Everything right,
automatically. It's
right.
on a
Yep.
timer, and which is the power of automation.
Yep.
So speaking of that, are there any tips that you have in the way of leveraging that to make that happen automatically?
Yeah, there's different software tools that can be utilized to
Uh-huh.
do that. I mean, with the greeting cards, there's a couple platforms that can help handling that if you want to use that as a vehicle. There's also
Uh-huh.
software tools that you can utilize that you can set up automated email sequences, text
Mhm.
message sequences, and things
Yeah.
like that. So yes, there are definitely tools that people should look into, and I do recommend some of them on my website that I've used personally and I'm familiar with.
Yes, I use CRMs. I've implemented those for many different companies and built those in. Those email follow-up systems are super important.
Yep. Yep.
And just being mindful about how you would like that interaction to come to you. If you were buying a new roof or you were having something like that, that would help you define what that workflow is going to be, what that automation can be.
Right. And then the other part going back to the, staying with the construction thing is
Yeah.
once you're done with the project, I tell people, it doesn't have to be Hollywood. Take your smartphone and make sure you're horizontal, not straight up and down, and take a video right then and there when the customer is super happy about the project, because
Yeah.
now they're your sales force. You've just created them as a super fan.
Yeah.
And now when you go to another project, you can turn around and says, hey, here's Sally, and here's her testimony on this project. Here's Mike that I've done this. Here's Paul that did this particular project. You don't have to do any selling anymore. Your
Yeah.
super fans are selling for you.
Yeah. That's a good point. So could you give an example of companies that you've worked with and you've helped them go from maybe not super fans to a super fan model, and
Yeah.
how did that come out?
The one interpreting and translation company that I worked for here in Arizona, I took over as general manager for them for a little bit. And in 1 year's time, we grew the business by 800 grand.
Wow.
And part of the thing was and they had usually every 90 days they had turnover because of their approach of how they handled employees. They had the mindset that, you should be grateful that we got a job.
Uh,
And, by the way, Paul, you're doing this wrong. Why aren't you paying attention to this? You made this mistake, that mistake. So we changed that whole approach. They kind of stepped aside, and we did not lose any employees in a year.
hmm.
So we stopped the turnover because, as you know, that's a huge expense.
Yeah.
And we did a better job of engaging with our customers. We created surveys to make sure, how did the interpreter do on the assignment? Were you happy with the delivery, et cetera, et cetera? And we created newsletters not only for the customers, but we also created a newsletter to the team of independent contract interpreters. And every month we edified one interpreter for going above and beyond, not just doing their job, but they did something extra that they did. And that changed the whole dynamics right there. So the employees of that company, when communicating to customers or prospective customers, the energy changed, and that, positivity attracts more positivity.
Yeah. Wow. 800 grand, but no turnover in a year. That's even bigger because that probably saved more than 800 grand,
Oh,
you
sure.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it seems like this super fan model of yours is kind of based on the golden rule. Can you maybe expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's basically the ability to help people accomplish what they want to accomplish in their life, and turn around and take care of what you need to do will happen automatically.
Yeah.
So it's about it. It's recognizing people, helping them achieve their goals, what they want, whether they're an employee, contractor that you work with, etc., complementary business. If you can help them achieve what they're after, they'll take care of you. It's automatic. You're pulled up with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just wondering how this super fan model helps you with getting and attracting uh, business collaborators or strategic partners.
Well, excellent question. If you're, like I just said earlier in that example of the flooring and painting company,
Yeah. Yeah.
those are two complementary businesses. So it's, to create super fans of the complementary businesses, it's making sure that you're helping that other business that's your counterpart be successful. And so they'll in turn, help you be successful in your business. So it's building those relationships. Years ago, I was in charge of global sales and I set up 60 resellers around the world. And we would have a reseller event. And I didn't just recognize the companies. We had awards, but I also recognized the sales individual within that company that was the one that sold the most of our product within that company. So the company got recognized, and these are all independent people, and they've got the 12 different products, that they're marketing. So, how do I get mind share, and so that my product is sold? It's having those relationships and then recognizing those people from that perspective.
Yeah. And that's super helpful. And it can, that kind of event can actually cause people to come into a friendly competition.
Yes.
One of the company I mentioned earlier, the logistics company, we brought our vendors and clients and employees, staff together to collaborate, to mastermind, to come up with new ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we did is we did performance evaluations, and we would reward and each vendor for on-time delivery and accuracy of billing and compliance with all of our regulations and whatnot, because we taught them how to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
then we actually had two East Coast vendors that were they were in the same market, and so they were in competition with each other, and they would one up every year. They would actually one of the other one would win an award because they were both really good vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Couriers, they were couriers, delivery, mom and pop delivery agents. And so there was a friendly competition that came about because of just by recognizing them, and they wanted to have that, and so they wanted that recognition. Therefore, they performed better.
Exactly.
And
Same thing with the resellers that I dealt with years ago.
yeah,
Same thing. It works wonders, and but it's not. It doesn't cost you a lot of money to do. It's just thinking about it and actually doing it is the most important part.
yeah, it just came to mind that the business super fans and the strategic partners, and we mentioned referrals, they're all really super related.
Yep.
And when we teach referrals, we want to be more intentional about getting them. One of my clients has an 88% or higher reorder rate every year, and there's a team of people that that manage that. Um, but they aren't, and so they get a lot of referrals and a lot of repeat business, but
Mm-hmm.
they really don't intentionally track it. Like when you get a attaboy from a client, from a customer, that's the perfect time to ask for an introduction or a referral.
Yep.
Uh, and
Absolutely.
so
Because
in seeking out, yeah, and
yeah, they're
seeking out traditional or strategic partners, you need to be intentional about that too. So like you mentioned, the painter and the flooring company, when you're growing your business, you should be looking for complementary businesses who serve the same audience, just like you and I, we serve the same audience.
Yep.
And so we could collaborate and help each other out because we provide different services, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
And
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 that's an area where people overlook is that the other thing that you get when you're collaborating with complementary businesses is you can market into each other's database
yeah,
and collectively and endorse each other. And now you've got a higher percentage of return because, okay, I'm referring you into my customer base, you're referring me into your customer base. So we've got endorsements, and that changes the game right there.
right. And you can even collaborate or co-advertise. You could have joint events. I mean, a lot of times there's the annual home remodeling convention or conference that happens every year, and complementary business who serve the same audiences. You should be developing relationships with those people, not saying, "Oh, I just want my little slice of the pie." You should change your mindset so that you're open to collaboration, you're open to
Right.
building strategic partners, and becoming a partner to someone. Uh, they'll reciprocate. So
Yep.
you refer people to them, and they'll reciprocate. Of course, you want to make sure that they provide a top-notch service, and
Right.
Miguel has been, Miguel isn't disgruntled, but yeah, so you need to be more intentional about that, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the book. What's in the book, and uh, what was the impetus or the aha that said, "Oh, I got to write this book because of this."
Excellent question. So, the whole idea became of business superfans was, I like to watch sports. I've played sports, and you
Mhm.
notice that the people, whether it's American football, European soccer, uh, basketball, baseball, you've got the fans got their faces painted, they got the jerseys on, they're roaring for the team. Is the team paying them for that? No.
No.
Are they probably making money off the merchandise? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But those are super fans of that sports team. So my idea came about was, well, why can't businesses, create super fans that will promote the business the same way sports team do? And so I started, talking to some people about the idea, other, business people that I'm familiar with, and they said, that's a pretty good idea. So I started to throw down some words actually during the COVID period.
Yeah.
And, my first start of the thing didn't go too far because I had a couple people review it and they went like, nothing exciting there. And so I tossed all that out, re-put it together. And what I did is I created as a playbook. So each chapter is self-contained that talks about the three different groups, which is, customers, employees, and complementary, or I call them business alliance partners.
Mhm.
And so each chapter is designed so that if you go into the follow-up chapter, it talks about follow-up approaches and techniques. So there's action items that you can implement
Ah.
for follow up to customers, follow up with the employees, follow up with business partners. There's the unexpected extra chapter, for example. And again, all three groups. So I designed the book to where, when we read a book, usually you go, where was that area? And you're flipping through, unless you folded the corner of the page or put a sticker in there, et
Yeah.
cetera, you don't know where that is.
Yeah.
So I designed it. If I need help with expressing appreciation, I can go to that particular chapter and everything I need to do is in there for all three groups. And then at the end of each chapter, there's an ability to score yourself from a 0 to 10 is how do you think you are doing in that particular area? So if it's, expressing appreciation, how do you think you're doing in appreciation when you read the chapter? And then I've created what I call the Superfan scorecard to where you can, it's like a dartboard. It's like a dartboard, and then you start putting the dots in the particular areas, and then you connect them, and you realize that your wheel's a little dilapidated, And so now there's action items that you can take to start making some things different.
Oh, I love that. So let's pick each of those three categories. Let's start with customers first. What's your favorite play in the customer section?
Favorite play is it would be into the unexpected extra chapter, is the going above and beyond, doing something for a customer. Quick story is this actually happened. So this is a true story. We ordered some food from a restaurant. I go to pick it up. No order. It's not there. I showed them on a cell phone that I actually called their number. And so the manager comes out and says, our bad. I'm gonna buy you a beer and we'll get it cooked right away. And I share the story in the book. And he comes back minutes later with the food. And we take a look at the food, and one of the orders is wrong. So now, it's snowballing in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And so he goes, okay, I'm going to personally watch it. So he goes back, comes back with the food, and then he brings us cheesecake and puts it in there and as a gift. And I says, okay. And then he goes, here's two $5 discount cards, two of them, one for me and one for the woman, so that we can come back there. And I go, wow, okay, great. And I says, all right, how much do I owe you? And he goes, you don't owe me anything. We messed this up. We're grateful that you've handled it well. You didn't get upset with us. So as a thank you, everything's on the house. I'm going like, wow.
Yeah.
And that was going above and beyond, doing the unexpected extra. And I'm a super fan of that restaurant, and we go to it on a regular basis. So that's one of the things in the chapter that I talk about, that is that little something, doing it above and beyond.
Yeah, and do you have stories for each of the employees and for the strategic partners also?
It depends on the chapters. I mean, the chapters are. So my chapters are, okay, it all begins with prospecting. I've got 12 chapters. Number 2 is why follow-up is super important. Number 3, thank you builds a bond of trust. Number 4, get personal with birthday greetings. So that's another one, recognizing people on their birthday, customers, employees, complementary businesses.
Yeah.
Next one is create an environment of appreciation. Give them what they crave, recognition. Retention saves you money. Go beyond expectations with unexpected extras. Reviews that are new word of mouth. Grow exponentially with referrals. Attraction is rooted in gratitude. And the last chapter is game time. Time to put all this stuff into play.
Yeah. Gotcha. You mentioned reviews, and you teach some techniques to help people I mean, Google reviews is huge, but there's reviews on Facebook, there's reviews all over the place.
Yep.
Angie's List and things like that. Do you have some strategies that you teach your clients that help them get more reviews and stand out in their marketplace?
Oh, absolutely. Like with the interpreting and translation company that I mentioned earlier, they had, a couple reviews, and it was a couple reviews, like 5. And it basically was, okay, yeah, they do good work. Great company. These were artificial reviews.
Yeah.
So what we implemented was that when a customer come in to get their birth certificate, their marriage license, their divorce decree, et cetera, translated from their native language into English because they needed for some type of thing, and they were super excited, we asked them to write a review right then and there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them pulled out their smartphone, and we gave them a link, and we would text them the link, so it would take them right to the Google place, and so they would put in a review while they were still in the office. Same thing as I mentioned earlier when we talked about the home remodeling stuff. The customer's super happy. Take out your smartphone. It doesn't have to be Hollywood.
Yeah.
And take the video review right then and there. So we started doing that as well.
Uh-huh.
And now that there are up to about 30 positive 5-star reviews. We've got some video testimonials that we can put out there. And those are just a couple simple little quick things that people can do. And there's more in the book.
Yeah. And basically we're talking about here is we're talking about changing your business so that it accommodates these extra things that can recognize people, can say thank you, can set expectations, can ask for reviews, can boost up referrals. You're going to have to change your business processes from day to day, and you'll need a CRM to remind you to do things, and some automation. But as you go, you should start out doing this from the start so that it's ingrained into your company, so you don't have to work backwards. But
Correct.
you have to start from where you are, right?
Yeah.
You got to start.
And that's where
the
the scorecard comes into place, because then you can you read the book, you can turn around and say, man, I don't do anything to recognize anybody. That's a place where you got to start, and then you can go right into that chapter and start implementing some of the things that you can put into play.
Yeah, I really love the scorecard. Is that something that you help people with once they've you walk them through that and you say, okay, we can help you with these things, and you work with them to bring them up to.
Yep, I'm launching the Business Superfans Accelerator community, and I'm still putting that together. And that's where there's some online courses that I'm creating, and then there'll be ability to people to talk to me once a month on a regular basis to ask questions. There's ask me anything kind of a area, and I'll be on live for about an hour. And then there's will be also where I can do private coaching within the platform for people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and it's a community that I'm designing so that people can not only be part of it, but they can also promote their stuff. So if their services, their business. So I'm trying to help people, I'm planning to create super fans of people in the community.
Right. Fascinating. Well, good luck with the book. When does the book come out, or is it already out?
It's already out. It's
Okay.
already out. I'm putting out a hardcover. That's the next thing. And I've got it translated into Spanish, and I'm looking at releasing it in Spanish probably within the next 30 to 45 days.
Nice. Well, Freddy, thank you so much. Freddy D, thank you so much for being on the show today. With your final words as we wrap things up here, what are 3 things that our listeners can do today to put these fabulous ideas into action?
They can go and get the book, or they can get the free copy by going to bizsuperfans.store, and they can get the free copy there, or they can buy it on Amazon. So that's step number 1, because you got to understand what the plays are that
get
they
the book,
can put into play. 2, they can come into the community and I'll give them coaching and help. And 3 is game time. Put it into play, because a lot of people read stuff and they put it down and they don't put it into play, and you got to put it into play.
That's right. I love that. And as I wrap up the show, I'm going to tie into that play the game day. So remember, faith and action go hand in hand. So keep the pedal to the metal, and until next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show, I'm Paul Guyon, and Freddy D, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Paul, thank you for the opportunity, and likewise, it was a great conversation.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyon, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.